Hi everyone, Rhyme and Fahid from Creative BD present to you this educational presentation of biology about cell. Presentation Biology Cell. Content Introduction of Cell theory, discovery of cell types of animal cell, types of plant cell, parts of animal cell, parts of plant cell, differences between plant cell and animal cell, unicellular, multicellular. Video. The end. Introduction. Cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism, which is typically microscopic and consists of cytoplasm and a nucleus enclosed in a membrane. Cell theory. In biology, cell theory is a scientific theory that describes the properties of cells, which are the basic unit of structure in all organisms and also the basic unit of reproduction. The initial development of the theory, during the mid-17th century, was made possible by advances in microscopy. The study of cells is called cell biology. Cell theory is one of the foundations of biology. The observations of Hooke, Leeuwenhoek, Schooleiden, Schwann, Virchow, and others led to the development of the cell theory. The cell theory is a widely accepted explanation of the relationship between cells and living things. The three tenets to the cell theory are described below. 1. Number. All organisms are composed of one or more cells. 2. Number. The cell is the most basic unit of structure, function, and organization in all organisms. 3. Number. All cells arise from pre-existing, living cells. Discovery of cell. In 3665, Robert Hooke discovers cells in corks, then in living plant tissue using an early compound microscope. He coins the term cell, from Latin cella, meaning small room, in his book Micrographia, 1665, in which he compared the cord cells he sees through his microscope to the small rooms monks lived in. In 1839, Theodor Schwann and Matthias Jack elucidate the principle that plants and animals are made of cells, concluding that cells are a common unit of structure and development, and thus founding the cell theory. In 1855, Rudolf Virchow states that new cells come from pre-existing cells by cell division. In 1931, Ernst Ruska builds the first transmission electron microscope, TEM, at the University of Berlin. By 1935, he has built an M with twice the resolution of a light microscope, revealing previously unresolvable organelles. IN 1953, Watson and Crick made their first announcement on the double hyperlink http://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/double_helix structure of DNA on February 28. In 1981, Lynn Margulis published Symbiosis in Cell Evolution detailing the endosymbiotic theory. Types of cell. According to sources, cells are of two types, one plant cell and two animal cell. In the left, you can see a plant cell and on the right you can see an animal cell. Types of cell. There are many types of plant cell, such as root hair cell. Root hair cells are long and thin to absorb water from the soil. Xylem cell. Xylem cells are small tubes that carry water up the stem. Leaf palisade cell. Leaf palisade cells contain lots of chloroplasts for photosynthesis. Types of animal cell. There are also many types of animal cell, such as red blood cell. Red blood cells have a substance called hemoglobin that carries oxygen. Muscle cells. Muscle cells can be shortened to move bones. Egg cell. Egg cells have a store of food in the cytoplasm. Sperm cell. Sperm cells are reproductive cells which contain one sets of chromosome. Nerve cell. Nerve cells are like wires to carry messages around the body. Parts of animal cell. Nucleus. Nucleus controls what the cell does. It contains the instructions to make new cells. It controls all cell activity by regulating what proteins are made. The cell contains DNA and transmits messages by eating, movement, and reproduction. This is a large organelle that is easily seen with a light microscope. It is in both animal and plant cell. Parts of animal cell. Cell membrane. Cell membrane is a thin skin around the cell. It gives the cell its shape and controls what goes into and out of the cell. It provides a barrier separating the interior of the cell from the outside environment. The membrane is semi-permeable. It is found in both plant and animal cell. Parts of animal cell. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is like jelly. Chemical reactions go on inside the cytoplasm. These keeps the cell alive. The job of the cytoplasm is to execute metabolic processes which uphold the life of the cell. In addition, it contributes to the larger whole of which the cell is part. The cytoplasm also encompasses organelles such as ribosomes, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, and mitochondria which also carry various processes in the cell. It is found in both animal and plant cell, but plant cell often contains starch in cytoplasm. Part of plant cell. Cell wall. Cell wall covers the thin cell membrane. It is made of tough cellulose which strengthens the cell. The function of a cell wall is to act as a pressure vessel, preventing overexpansion when water enters the cell. They are usually found in bacteria, plants, algae, and fungi amongst other organisms. It is found in only plant cell. Part of plant cell. Cell vacuole. A plant cell has a large permanent vacuole filled with a liquid called a cell sap. The vacuole carries out various functions in a cell that include disposal of waste and harmful materials, protection, storage in seeds, regulation of pH and structural support. It is mainly found in plants. Part of plant cell. Chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are found in cells that carry out photosynthesis. They contain chlorophyll to trap light energy. It produce food for the cell. They produce glucose from carbon dioxide and water. They also convert light energy into chemical energy through the chlorophyll. Only plant cells have chloroplasts, with animal cells lacking the ability to make food. Differences between plant cell and animal cell. 1. Number. Plant cells have tough cellulose cell walls but animal cells don't. 2. Number. Plant cells have chloroplasts but animal cells don't. 3. Number. Plant cells have a large permanent vacuole containing cell sap but animal cells may sometimes have small vacuole but they never contain cell sap. 4. Number. Many plant cells have a box-like shape while the shape of animal cells varies. 5. Number. Plant cells have nucleus to the side of the cell while animal cells have it in the middle. Unicellular. Some living organisms are made up of just one cell. They are called unicellular. There are many unicellular organisms, such as amoeba, euglena, paramecium, trypanosoma, plasmodium, etc. Multicellular. The organisms which are made up of more than one cell is called multicellular. There are many multicellular organisms, such as Spirogyra, dogs, birds, plants, ants, etc.
The object which you see is a model of an animal cell. Animal cells are one of the most basic types of eukaryotic cells. Animal cells are the foundation of all animals, which are made up of multiple cells and which have a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. The main parts of the animal cell are the mitochondria, microfilaments, lysosome, Golgi apparatus, smooth ER, rough ER, microtubules, cell membrane, ribosomes, and nucleus. This is an example of mitochondria. Mitochondria are small organelles that transfer energy from organic molecules to ATP. ATP is the main type of power which runs a cell, making the mitochondria very important. This is an example of a microfilament. Microfilaments are long tube-like threads made of the protein actin. This is an example of a lysosome. Lysosomes are vesicles created by the Golgi apparatus which contain digestive enzymes. Lysosomes can break down molecules such as protein, nucleic acid, carbohydrates, and phospholipids. This is an example of a Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus is a system of membranous sacs. The purpose of the Golgi apparatus is to transport vesicles and the things which they carry. This is an example of a smooth ER. The smooth ER builds lipids for the cell. The smooth ER is made smooth due to a lack of ribosomes, which the rough ER has. This is an example of a rough ER. The rough ER transports molecules from one part of the cell to another. The rough ER is made rough by the ribosomes which coat its surface. This is an example of a cell membrane. A cell membrane manages and controls which molecules are allowed to enter or exit its cell. This is an example of a ribosome. Ribosomes are somewhat spherical organelles that serve the purpose of building protein. Also, ribosomes are created by the cytoplasm. This is an example of a nucleus. The nucleus controls most of the functions that go on within a cell. The nucleus also contains a cell's genetic information. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope that you better understand the structure of the animal cell.
Plant cells are eukaryotic cells that differ in several key respects from the cells of other eukaryotic organisms. One of their distinct features is their cell wall. The cell wall is a lipid bilayer that forms the outer boundary of the cell. A main function of the cell wall is to act as a pressure vessel, preventing overexpansion when water enters the cell. Although the material of the cell wall varies depending upon species, it serves the same purpose. As we move further into the cell, you'll notice very important differences between the animal cell and this plant cell. Starting just under the cell wall, there is an additional wall-like structure called the cell plasma membrane. The cell membrane is selectively permeable to ions and organic molecules, protecting the cell from outside forces. The cell membrane has complete control over the movement and substances in and out of the cell. Underneath the cell membrane is a thick layer of cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a gel-like substance that holds all of the cell's substructures and organelles. It is within the cytoplasm that most cellular activities occur, such as many metabolic pathways and cell division. In the cytoplasm, the organelle that takes up most of the cell's space is the vacuole. The vacuole is an enclosed vessel that contains mostly water and enzymes. The vacuole is in charge of maintaining pressure and turgor within the cell. The vacuole also helps maintain an acidic internal pH level. Since plants and algae do not obtain energy from other organisms, an organelle supplies energy to the cell by converting energy from the sun into usable energy by the cell with a process called photosynthesis. The organelle is called chloroplast and is located within the cytoplasm of the cell. The apparatus that is in charge of packaging and sending proteins is located just away from the endoplasmic reticulum. The Golgi complex is particularly important in the processing of proteins for secretion. The mitochondria are sometimes described as the power plants of the cell because they generate most of the cell's adenosine triphosphate, used as a source of chemical energy. The mitochondria lie in the cytoplasm just away from the Golgi apparatus. The endoplasmic reticulum are eukaryotic organelles that form an interconnected network of tubules and vessels. The endoplasmic reticulum curves itself around the nucleus and comes into two forms, rough and smooth. The organelles may seem similar, but they are truly very different. The rough endoplasmic reticulum is studded with ribosomes, giving it a rough appearance, whereas the smooth endoplasmic reticulum has several functions. This reticulum not only synthesizes lipids and steroids, but is attached to the nuclear envelope. This allows the transfer of ribosomes. Ribosomes are an important component of cells that assembles the 20 specific amino acid molecules to form the particular protein molecule determined by the nucleotide sequence of an RNA molecule. The nucleolus produces ribosomes and releases them to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. As depicted, there are a significant amount of ribosomes attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Lysosomes are another holder of enzymes in the cell. Located within the cytoplasm, the lysosomes break down waste and other cellular debris. The nucleolus is surrounded by a nuclear envelope and is the control center of the cell. The nucleus is also in charge of producing and storing the RNA and DNA molecules.
Differences between plant cell and animal cell.
Let's compare a plant cell and an animal cell. Carefully observe the two diagrams.
Important differences between plant cells and animal cells are listed here. Plant cells have a rigid non-living cell wall that lies outside the cell membrane and is made up of cellulose, whereas animal cells have no cell wall. A plant cell contains plastids. Plastids are absent in animal cells. Centrosome is absent in plant cells. In animal cells, centrosome is present near the nucleus. Lysosomes are absent in plant cells, whereas lysosomes are present in animal cells. Plant cells contain a large and central vacuole. Animal cells contain small and few vacuoles.